Good evening and welcome to Perspectives Daily. I'm Noel Okel. We begin in Rome today with a quick look at the Pope's catechesis during his weekly general audience at St. Peter's Square. The Holy Father continued his reflection series on the Our Father, but focused this time on the third invocation, Thy will be done. Christians have faith in a God who wants to and is able to transform the world, conquering evil with good. And that is why it makes sense to obey and abandon oneself to God and His will, even during life's most difficult moments, the Pope said. When people pray, Thy will be done, they are praying not as subservient slaves, but as children who understand and trust their Father and His loving plan. Also from Rome, the Pope has rejected the offer of the French Cardinal Philippe Barbarin as Archbishop of Lyons after he received a 6-month suspended prison sentence from the non-disclosure of sexual abuse against minors. A statement issued by the Archdiocese of Lyons yesterday said that the Pope had personally met with the Cardinal and declined his resignation on presumption of his innocence until the Cardinal's appeal process is completed. Despite this, however, the Cardinal has decided to step aside temporarily for the good of the Archdiocese and leave the leadership of the diocese to the Vicar General. The French court found Cardinal Barbarin guilty of covering up abuse by a Father Bernard Preniet who admitted to abusing minors in the 70s and the 80s. And although the Cardinal did not become head of the Archdiocese until 2002, it was alleged that he had known about the abuses since at least 2010, despite having suspended the offending priest in 2015 and to help facilitate his conviction. And here in Canada, while some students and teachers here are counting down the days to their March break, some Ontario school chaplains were preparing in a different way. Our very own Deacon Pedro brings us more on this story.
Every Catholic high school in Ontario has a chaplain, and once a year they gather together, not just to learn new things, but also to refresh and to reconnect.
I'm listening to these ideas that these chaplains are saying up there, and I'm like, wow, how come I never thought of that, in all of these years? And so, to trust yourself and but also to get lots of support. I had good mentors along the way.
I worked as a youth minister in a parish after my Master's of Divinity, and I found that I was constantly trying to get students to the parish. So, on one day I said to myself, it makes more sense to go to where they're at.
The theme of the 2019 conference is Compassionate Discipleship, and it was hosted by the Toronto Catholic District School Board.
Chaplaincy is the ministry of presence, and just be there. People are always like, oh, what do you say, what do you do? And it's like, no, just, the saying like, don't just stand there, do something. For chaplains, don't just do something, stand there, like just be there.
Students don't get enough interaction with ordained ministers because they're not always going to church. They're not building those relationships with their ordained ministers that I think some of them used to. So being a lay person in the school system who values faith, they immediately have a person to talk to about faith issues. But just to see as a role model, and just like we've seen at this conference today, they mentioned that we are the Jesus for these students in the schools.
The main advice is be ready to be continually surprised, be incredibly patient, be a good listener, and be bold in terms of letting people know God's love for them. And with students in particular, any way that you can somehow let them know that the gospel is something that's joyfully lived.
Having a publicly funded Catholic school system in Ontario is a gift that we should not take for granted. Let's keep these chaplains in our prayers that they will continue serving our school communities as compassionate disciples.
That's all that we have for you today. Be sure to join us again tomorrow for more of the latest news and stories with the perspectives of a Catholic lens. I'm Noel Okel, and thank you for joining us.